Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and our thoughts are certainly with the family of the veterans and certainly with the folks of Georgia and with you, because what happened in Georgia is not good news. It's not the kind of news we ever want to hear about a veteran in this country. And just know that we're going to continue to work together, as the chairman said, to make the VA all it can be. And so thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Robert, it's good to see you. It's good to have you here today. I appreciate your willingness to serve as acting secretary, and I appreciate your willingness to step forward now during what I believe are unprecedented times at the VA. If confirmed, and you know this, you will be tasked with ensuring that our nation's veterans have access to timely care and services, benefits, both housing, educational, and others that they have earned. You will also be expected to treat every veteran, regardless of gender, race, sexual orientation, with the dignity and the respect that they deserve. Today, this committee is here to determine whether you're the right person for the job. Every new administration brings its own priorities and its own people to the table. That transition period can often lead to turmoil and confusion and can generate uncertainty inside and outside the agency. But from my perspective, the VA has always been above that fray. The sacred mission of serving our veterans and their families has always transcended personal political agendas or political affiliations. Since I've been in this committee, I've been able to work with Jim Nicholson as closely as I worked with Eric Shinseki, and I also worked with Jim Peek as closely as I worked with Bob McDonald. Each of them were focused on how best to serve the veterans, and they didn't allow politics to get in the way of the progress. But recently, we have seen VA political appointees work actively and publicly to undermine a secretary and a deputy secretary who were unanimously confirmed by the Senate. As we speak, the secretary and deputy secretary positions are vacant within the VA, while those same political appointees continue to collect paychecks from the VA. We're seeing nonpartisan senior leaders and subject matter experts leave the VA in unprecedented numbers. Many are concerned that the sound policies and ideas are being increasingly marginalized at the expense of politics. We're seeing VA implement reform after reform in a manner that is inconsistent with congressional intent. We're seeing political interest groups given a seat at the table instead of veteran service organizations. We're seeing VA leadership, none of who have been confirmed, lash out at anyone who is seeking true transparency. In the last couple of weeks, the VA's official media account has attacked news outlets as fake news. The VA's official media account has attacked news outlets as fake news. And the acting secretary has improperly claimed that the independent inspector general is his subordinate, which couldn't be further from the truth. I hope that you agree that this type of behavior undermines the VA's mission, and it does a disservice to the millions of veterans who rely upon VA services. And I hope that everyone at the VA was watching last week when the Senate voted 96-0 to reaffirm the independence of the VAIG. Federal agencies can't be trusted to police themselves. Veterans and taxpayers need to know that the VA is not above the law. So, Robert, I need to know that you are the guy who understands the VA has larger challenges ahead, and I think you do. It simply cannot afford to get weighed down by unforced errors. Veterans are counting on the VA to implement the Mission Act within the next year, and it needs to be done with more transparency than the Accountability Act. Congress has provided the VA ample time to roll out the Mission Act and to get it done and get it done right. If it doesn't happen, the buck stops with you. Congress and veterans will hold you accountable, and I think you understand that. I'm already concerned the department is as ready as it should for this monumental undertaking of the Mission Act. For example, VA is supposed to be contracting for community care networks that will help facilitate a veteran's access to community care. Those dates have been pushed back multiple times now. I'm concerned about that, and I hope you are too. We'll also be counting on you to ensure that care inside the VA is accessible and of the highest quality. Congress has provided the VA with tool after tool to better carry out its mission. And by the leadership, I might say, of Chairman Isaacson, they provide those tools. But far too often, the VA has failed to properly utilize those tools to deliver better outcomes for veterans. This absolutely needs to change. I'm going to be looking to you as a person who is ultimately responsible to make this happen. Robert, I appreciate our working relationship. As I've told you recently, I believe you're a straight shooter, and I think that when confirmed with when confronted with the decision about what's best for veterans, you will act in the best of intentions. The question is how that decision will ultimately be impacted by the influence of others, whether they're talking about political appointees at the VA or over at the White House. Sooner or later, you're going to come to a crossroads with these folks. That's what happened to David Shulkin, that's what happened to Tom Bowman, and that's what happened to countless other folks who are no longer with the department. My only advice to you is to take the cues from the veterans, the folks that are sitting in this audience, and do what you think is right, even if political forces threaten your job, because I want you to succeed. I really want you to succeed. And I think the veterans across this country, in fact, I know the veterans across this country want you to succeed too. This post requires courage, honesty, integrity, and a vision for the future. Leading this nation's largest healthcare system is no small task, and it demands the very best. I look forward to our discussion today. And once again, I want to thank you for your willingness to serve on behalf of this nation's veterans. Thank you.